Hello everyone, it's Jeff Rich here from the Burning Archive, YouTube and Substack. And I talk a lot about all sorts of books on my channel and on my Substack. But today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm actually doing a box opening of my very own new book, just published, Cantos from a Cage, Poems of Lockdown. And I'll just push myself through here. This is, as you can see, it's a little bit hard to open this up, but here we are. My latest book, Cantos from a Cage, Poems of Lockdown. I will give you a nice little image of that. And this is a book I wrote, a set of poems that I wrote in the years of the coronavirus pandemic, when, of course, me and many people around the world were locked down. We all went through this strange kind of social experiment where a quarantine was applied to a 21st century level of population, not just in one city, not just in one infected area, but across large parts of the world. In my city, in Melbourne, of course, the lockdown, I believe, ended up being the longest lockdown in world history. Not exactly a record to be proud of, and there were a lot of protests about it, a lot of debate about the rights and wrongs of it. Now, this is a book of poems. It's not really a political tract or a social commentary, although in many ways it is a little bit like that as well. They're poems I wrote in the sort of early months of the pandemic, and then as I sort of was processing myself the experience of the coronavirus pandemic and the lockdown. Cantos from a Cage refers indeed to the Pisan cantos of Ezra Pound, the great American European poet of the 20th century, who wrote cantos, and the Pisan cantos that he wrote, including Canto 81, What Thou Lovest Well Will Not Be Reft From Thee, was an early sort of signature line I used to use on the Burning Archive podcast, but no more. And the Pisan cantos were written when Ezra Pound was indeed imprisoned in a internment camp, a prisoner of war camp, an American prisoner of war camp in Italy after the Allied powers removed the fascist government in Italy, and towards the end and immediately after the war. He was kept in a sort of cell out there because, of course, he did broadcasts, propaganda broadcasts and other kind of activities in defence of the Mussolini regime. A highly intriguing, controversial character, Ezra Pound. Was he mad? Was he bad? Was he a great poet? Was he a great pretender? But he becomes something of a alter ego inspiration figure for me in these poems, in which I say, from the cages of our lives, we sing our greatest cantos. There are some wonderful poems in this collection. I won't read the main lot, the Cantos from a Cage, but let me maybe just read one of the short poems towards the end, which sort of were written towards the end of the whole lockdown period, when we sort of had gone through the worst, I guess, of the drama, and we're sort of settling down into something of a more normal life. And I wrote this poem called A Quiet Ordinary Life. It begins with a quotation from Wallace Stevens' poem, The Insurance Executive, who was a great 20th century American poet, author of, The Idea of Order at Key West, that sort of thing. And he writes here in A Quiet Normal Life, there was no fury in transcendent forms, but his actual candle blazed with artifice. And then my poem reads, the feet of the child rings the bells, nestled in the banked paths of the city park. The sounds of Sunday walkers mingle like fractals of the federated square. Bikes swish over the crushed stone. In the distance, family jazz is mechanically reproduced. Whistles come from nowhere like a Bulgarian list. Traffic and trains clatter by to make their forgotten timetable. And the water loves the riverbank forever beyond the band. Children roll down the hill. They trip and trigger the rhythms of uncertain thought. It is here, this setting, this time, the child says, people are ordinary art. So you can, I've got all the details of where you can get, my new book, Cantos from a Cage, Poems of Lockdown, on jeffrich.substack.com. It's available on, all the usual online booksellers. And while you're there, you can also check my previous collection of poetry, Gathering Flowers of the Mind, my previous collection of essays, Writing on Governing, 13 Ways of Looking at a Bureaucrat, and my second published book, in fact, after Gathering Flowers of the Mind, From the Burning Archive, Essays and Fragments, 2015 to 22, and this one includes my writing on topics of cultural decay, literature, social fragmentation, history, and unravelling empires, as well as my long journey from bureaucrat with a suppressed voice to writer, sharing my writing right here on Substack and YouTube. I hope you enjoy the book. Do check it out. And I'd love your support either by becoming a paid subscriber or by buying one or indeed all of my books. Thanks for watching.